You have to remember.
I saw someone down there. He wasn't human.
He's a known terrorist, and he's killed again.
They didn't just kill them. They hacked into their minds.
He's everywhere and nowhere.
I will find him. And I will kill him.
You never talk about your past.
I don't remember much. Just fragments.
There was an attack.
You were dying.
We saved you. And now you save others.
Everything they told you was a lie. You had a family. Remember that.
But I...
What a beauty you are.
What do you want from me?
They did not save your life. They stole it.
How many were there before me?
She was supposed to have a clean brain. I order you to terminate.
They created me, but they cannot control me.
Ghost in the Shell. Who's excited for this movie? I know I am, after that, especially after that trailer. I've already seen it, actually, hint, hint, but I loved it, man. It's beautiful, it's provocative, you know, it's got all these sort of questions that need to be answered. I mean, tell me, did you guys know the source material? I think it stands on its own, but obviously it's a beloved anime series and manga. You know, why don't you start, Pilou, if you don't mind?
I'll start.
Yeah.
I'll start. Thank you very much. I was aware of it because I saw it when I was a teenager at a boarding school, and one of my friends gave me this tape with Ghost in the Shell, and I thought it was pretty incredible because this was the first time I actually saw a cartoon that took itself seriously. Yeah. And where I come from, which is a small country to the north of Europe called Denmark, we hadn't seen so many films with strong female leads, and I thought that was pretty incredible. So I was aware of it.
I remember seeing it on VHS as well. That's
Exactly.
weird, right? To
Exactly.
think back at that time. Yeah, exactly. How about you, Chin?
Well, I was familiar with it, the manga and then the anime. But for me, because I was a teenager at that time, it was more an act of rebellion and more an act of transgression that I devoured that stuff, you know. And as I got older, I mean, it took on different meaning for me. Obviously, the search for identity became very crucial, you know, in my reading of the books. Yeah.
And then, you know, building the characters. I mean, Rupert Sanders does such an amazing job with this film. I mean, how would those meetings, you know, begin? How'd they start for you?
The first meeting I had with Rupert Sanders, that was like a pre-tape meeting where he was like, I see Polo like this. And if you're aware of the anime, right? The guy is in his late 40s, beginning 50s. He's like built like a mountain. He's so massive. And I'm not.
You're pretty tall. You got something to work with, for sure.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm going to tell my wife. So I didn't really connect with the character, so I had a little bit more. He had to explain a little bit more about the background. And that was the first time he told me that was based on a manga. And I thought to myself, all right, I got to be prepared. I got to go back in the history books and read this manga. And then I saw that Shido, who created the manga in the 80s, his Bateau was actually my age and much more boyish, like young and wild and free, like me. Give and take. I've been married for 10 years, so I'm not so young and wild and free anymore, but still, you know. I wanted to do like a fusion between those characters. I wanted to give honor to Shido, who was the to genius.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give honor to Ushi, who was also a genius when he created the anime in the 90s.
Yeah.
So my bateau is like a combination of those two. Or that's at least how I like to think about it.
Yeah. And Chin, your character is the only human, you know, without the enhancements, you know, the technological enhancements. What was it? How did you guys build that character, and what was the mindset for you?
Well, he was also young and free and wild.
With a mullet.
With a mullet, rocking a big party at the back of my head. The character design was very important because this is an analog guy in a digital world, and this is a visual medium. So how do you show a guy who's like that? Mm-hmm. So Rupert Sanders and Curtin Bart, the costume designers and the hair and makeup designers, we had to first decide on a mullet that would be, you know, that would fit the time, and then we had to find a suit. Skinny tie, high-waisted, kind of gumshoe detective, you know, look. And also, Rupert and I picked out a Casio digital calculator watch, which I actually nicked from production, after the show. So we started from that point, and then also Tokusa is very similar to me in the sense that I distrust technology. It took me a long time to even get a smartphone, and he knows.
You can tell because you call it a smartphone.
Yeah, but he knows something about me that
he's got a fax machine.
I do
For
still
real. And a pager.
Yeah, I do still have a fax machine, but there's no one to fax to, and nobody calls me on my pager. I keep trying to get him to call me, but he doesn't. You know.
Now, the fact that you don't have the tech enhancements, so you don't have to be in the makeup chair as long as this guy does, though. I mean, when you get the eyes, the eye enhancements, tell me a little bit about how long...
sucks on American TV? I can say that,
say
right?
that. Yeah, you can say
sucks.
everything.
Doing 4 hours of makeup every single day for more or less for 6 months, it's no fun. But thank God I was sharing the makeup trailer with Jen Han. Yes. And every day he had a challenge that he had to make me laugh. Because, you know, I was kind of depressive sitting there. You can't do anything for those hours. You're just sitting there, and there's this incredible, beautiful woman doing your makeup that you can't look at because you have to wear these prosthetic eyes you can't see through.
You can't see anything.
I can't see anything. Wow. So it's a miracle I'm still part of this film because I wasn't aware where the camera was when they were shooting. I would run the other way. I would be shooting the camera guy instead or something.
So you're running into stuff on set, or how do you...
Yeah, including Scarlett a couple of times.
And me.
And a lot of Chenan. But every single day he would come and he would show me. And this is so stupid. I don't know why I'm telling this story.
No, we're doing it for research, all right?
We did it for research.
Yeah.
Chenan would show me little clips from YouTube every single day. Oh, wow. And my favorite one was a hamster eating a burrito.
Oh. Yeah.
Have you seen it? It's incredible.
It's incredible. And
don't look it up just yet, but do that. Some people are actually already looking it up.
Google it now.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
And then when he got tired of that, I showed him the other video of the hamster eating pizza, and then there's a whole collection, right? There's a hamster eating sushi, and yeah.
This is a good series. I feel like this is the next project you guys should do together. Yeah, exactly.
People go on and on about Marvel. No. The hamsters are doing it for real right now.
Oh, that's amazing.
Fast and the Furious 28? No, hamsters 29.
Oh, I love it. Let's talk about, you said you ran into Scarlett Johansson. She's so fantastic in the role of Major. I mean, tell me a little bit about working with her and what that was like. You guys both shared the screen quite a bit with her.
I did. I was so lucky. This is the second film I've done with Scarlett. We did a film a couple of years ago called Lucy.
Lucy, yeah.
It was a couple of years ago. Yeah. And that was shot in Taipei, and I had like 3 days on it, and I get shot. Sorry, spoiler, but I get shot at the beginning of the film. Damn it. No, you know, I didn't get fired. So this the second time around, I got to work with her for 6 months, and I could just see she's such an incredible, talented, gifted actress. You know, she's one of the best stars of our generation, and she's extremely sweet. She's extremely professional, and she's one of the things that I appreciate most with human beings. She's very generous, you know, and I'm almost getting a little bit emotional. I'm very proud of calling her a very good friend now.
Yeah. How about you, Chin? How was it working with her?
Well, I think she was the ultimate professional. I think she was very committed, and I think people don't realize that when you do these action movies, especially when you have as complicated set pieces as you do in this film, with wire work and explosives and cars turning over and everything. You want that from your co-star. You know, you want someone not running into you, and and it's so good with the choreography because you feel like someone's got your back, right? I mean, it's very comforting to know that, and she's that and more.
Yeah, I mean, the action scenes are incredible in this movie, and I got to see some behind the scenes, and there's a lot of practical effects. There's a lot of actual stuff that you guys were doing. Like, there's a whole street shootout that's the street is there, and you guys are firing, and you know it feels very real. So tell me a little about.
It was
filming
so
that.
real.
Yeah.
It was so real that one of the days we had a big shootout in a bar. I accidentally shot a guy in the face. That was how real it was. It was a mistake.
There were blanks, hopefully, so there was. Yeah.
And he's okay. No animals or stunt guys got hurt in our film, but you know, it was a big sequence. I have to shoot like 15, 20 people. And where I come from a kind of I can be a little dodgy neighborhood back home, right? So when a guy is attacking me with a knife or with a gun, I go for the face. So I accidentally shot him.
Yeah, and there was one day where he accidentally shot my guy that I was supposed to be shooting as well. And I'm like,
stealing lines and stealing casualties. I
now
like that.
he's stealing my casualties, and
I like shooting people for fun.
But that street scene was very interesting because I think the idea for that street scene when we were rehearsing for that was that it was going to be heat, heat, sci-fi heat. You know, we wanted it to have that kind of grittiness and that kind of, reality, grounded in kind of reality, and Rupert wanted that. So we're moving in real time, and basically what is called FIBWA, right? FIBWA is fighting in built-up areas. That was what we were trained in tactically, and then when we did the scene, that's what we did. So it's just movement, fire and a movement, and then we're moving, and that was just quite the scene. Right?
Yeah.
How do you remember that?
What?
Look at the professional.
I'm
There we
like,
go. Yeah.
whoa, that's what we did.
That's when you're not, busy shooting other people's.
There we go.
You guys are working. Damn.
Yeah.
Maybe I was standing with my back to all of you, shooting the other way or something.
Your eyes exactly were covering your field of vision there.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me about the training. You guys went through a lot of training for this, the tactical training, everything like that. You know, were you guys in like a boot camp situation in New Zealand?
It's normally when you get hired for a film, you come down there like a week before you start shooting. But it was very important for Rupert and the producers that we got this Section 9 feeling just to honor the anime, and the manga. So we arrived in Wellington 1.5, 2 months before we started shooting, just so we could work out, we could get to know each other. We did weapons training, tactical training, a lot of workout.
Yeah. Physical conditioning, and then paramilitary training, and then weapons training, and then tactical stuff, fine and movement stuff as well. And then we did that for 5 months afterwards, subsequently. So they wanted us to move like a family, as a very tight unit, basically. There's just no breaks.
I hope you guys had some fun together as well,
No.
Some eating, no?
No. Only working out and eating chicken and protein. No, of course you have fun because we're like gypsies. We travel the world, and you do a film in New Zealand, or you do a film in China, or you're in Europe, if you're so lucky to be in Europe.
Yeah, there we go.
So you kind of have to create your own family while you're shooting a film. Yeah. And in my case, I always bring my wife and my daughter wherever I work. So it's working out,
And, getting to see the film, even just the trailer for you guys, I'm sure with all the effects and all, there was a lot of practical stuff there, but the finishing touches, when Scarlett's going off the building and everything, how is it like for you guys to sort of see it for the first time and to take in the footage?
I saw it on a small screen in Tokyo because I had to see it before I had to do some press. And then I saw it in IMAX 3D. Yeah. And still, I don't know what I can say on American TV, but I want to swear like it It's unbelievable. It's like Jess, who's the DOP, and Rupert, the director. And it wasn't intentional. They knew they would work with perspective because I discussed this with Jess. They would work with elements. You know, when you create, I come from a gallery family. When you create a painting, you have the white color first, then you put layers on top of it. That's how great artists do their paintings. They start with the background, middle ground, and foreground. And that's what Jess and Rupert did with this film. So that's the reason why I think it's going to be, and I know for sure, it is incredible in 3D IMAX. It looks so beautiful. There's so much depth to it.
Yeah, I remember seeing it at 3D IMAX at Universal Studios on the City Walk, and I got vertigo, you know, from that, because you just feel kind of that motion, you know, from it. So it's very good use of 3D and IMAX.
And in working with the wires and everything like that, how was that experience for you guys? I mean, I'm sure you guys have had some history with it.
It's fun. Yeah. It's like a childhood dream coming true. All of a sudden you get to play a soldier without the fear of worst case scenario, you know. And the guys we were working with in Wellington, those are the same guys who've done all of the Lord of the Rings, King Kong, and all those films, and they're so professional. So it was like, while we were shooting, you have like 2 months of a boot camp, but it felt like 6 months of boot camp and training. You felt at the end of the shoot, you felt like and I'm not comparing myself to a professional soldier because I know that's a much longer and more difficult education than a silly, stupid Danish actor trying to do something in a film. But still, it felt real, which is what you're going for as an actor.
Yeah, how about you, Jin? Working with the wires and...
Yeah, that's very... I've done some of that and martial arts as well on...
Marco Polo, you're so great on that, absolutely, yeah.
On Marco Polo, but this was different though, you know, because this is set in the future, and we had a really wonderful stunt coordinator by the name of Guy Norris who did Mad Max Fury Road. And in keeping with Rupert's idea for it to be realistic, we were training, you know, we were doing stuff that was... You know, it's very beautiful when you do martial arts. It's almost like a dance, you know, you're doing all that stuff. But this one was, I think we wanted to have that kind of bone-crunching, gut-busting kind of action. You can feel a punch, right? You can feel a punch. You can feel...
Say that for the trailer. That needs to be that right there.
Yeah, you know, and even that water fight, as you see, you know, I mean, everything has to have that kind of visceral quality to it, you know. Yeah.
You're so great on Marco Polo, by the way. I mean, tell me a little about filming that and you know, doing martial arts on screen like that, to that level.
Yeah, that was a different kind of training, you know. I mean, that was like 3 months also of training, so I've been training a lot, by the way. So,
it looks good.
Yeah, exactly. It's working out.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, it was that and martial arts, and it was a very specific form of martial arts, which was the mantis style that is so rare that we had to find the masters from China to come teach us. And so, you know, I find myself being fitter than I've ever been at this age. And I even ran the marathon in New Zealand for the first time in my life.
Wow, round of applause for that. There we go. Yeah, marathon.
Because that was how fit I was. Pilou, however, did not run the marathon.
I went to the zoo with my daughter. Which is
round of applause for that. Round of that. Good father. Yeah.
Very important job I had that day.
You do a different kind of fighting on Game of Thrones, a little more brutal. Yeah, exactly. Tell me a little about filming that series. I mean, obviously so beloved.
It's quite incredible that you do 2 small scenes in the biggest show in the world, and everyone is just like, wow. Thank God I have some more scenes the next season.
There we go. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's not going to happen. I can't say anything because you know what? I had a very interesting experience when I was younger. I went to the cinema, and in Denmark, the slots are like this. The movie finish, and then people go out, and when they go out, you go in. And it was The Sixth Sense. And I'll never forget this dude coming out like, he was dead the whole time? And I was like, for real? So that day on, I was like, no, I'm never going to say anything. But people are going to die a lot.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't
I think
wait.
so.
I mean, you play kind of an evil person in that show. You're not.
It depends on
how do
how
you
you look
see
at
it?
it.
Yeah, exactly. So are you on his side of things?
It's a very important thing for me, even though if it's fantasy or epic or social realism, that these characters have some reality to it. I think that's what the audience identify with. If we created a character that was so surreal or too evil or too good, the audience would be like, I'm too smart for this. I expect more, you know? Life is not black and white. Where I come from, that's why I hate social media, sorry. Even though I'm on it, but that's for different reasons. It's always about the gray areas that we should look into, because that's what we connect with as an audience, the flaws in the human beings. And yes, Euron Greyjoy is a flawed character, but it's my job to portray him as honest as possible. Just so, let's say, after the end season, at the end of the next season, final episode, that you would go like, you know what? I kind of get it, he killed his dad.
Okay.
I kind of get it why he slaughtered like 1 million people on the battlefield.
Well, I look forward to that. I look forward to that for sure. Now, Ghost in the Shell, I mean, I feel like this is a brave, it's beautiful, it's something unique to cinemas now. I mean, would you guys be down to do another one of these? I feel like, it's so exciting. The characters must be exciting for you guys.
Well,
It was Section 9,
Yeah, the canon is so vast and huge, right? I mean, you have the manga, you have the anime, you have the TV series, you have the video games, even a play now in Japan. So
There's a Ghost in the Shell
there's
play.
a play in Japan. Yeah.
You guys have to go. You guys have to go and see that.
And, I mean, so there's a lot of material to plumb and a lot of stories to tell, and obviously I have enjoyed my time so much with Pilou. I go over to his house uninvited all the time in Denmark.
Hamster videos.
Yeah, I hate it.
I would be happy to spend another 6 months.
I would love it.
With everybody.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Because it's, we created a family, and this is actually the family you want to hang out with.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
I
like that. Well, we have some questions in the audience, and we're going to start right there.
Hey guys, so I definitely cannot wait to check out this movie. I'm a fan of the anime and the manga as well. So seeing the setting of the series and then seeing it on film, like how important was it to get that setting right, like trying to capture the cyberpunk feel to it?
It's very interesting when you do this kind of translation from medium to medium, because you're actually looking at a two-dimensional panel page now being translated into a 3D moving image. Some things work for the page better than they work for a visual, for the movie. So I think a lot of great pains were taken, I think, to do that. I think a lot of the credit has to go to Rupert Sanders and the DP, Jess Hall. Weather Workshops, Richard Taylor and his genius team of people with the designs for the geisha bond and the shelling sequence and all that. Very, very eye-popping, striking imagery. I think it was important, but I think it was even more important that we captured the spirit, I think, of the canon, which is why we went through all of them. We didn't just go to Mamoru Oshii's movie, because for a lot of people, when they think about Ghost in the Shell, they think about Mamoru Oshii's movie and Innocence. They don't really look at the manga, or the people who love standalone complex are just going to look at the standalone complex, But we poured through everything. I mean, right? I mean, we looked at everything, and I think it'll be very fun for fans to spot stuff from standalone complex, even Arise and the Oshii's movies and the manga in this particular movie.
And it is, just to elaborate it, your question before, is this like, what do you guys want to do with it? I've done a lot of TV. With TV, you get the chance to establish a character for a long period, so you can go into the depth with the character. Movies are different. We got to entertain you for between 1.5 and 3 hours, depending on the length of the film. So the characters can seem forced. you know? But I feel like I want to do Polo. I want to work with these guys for like 20 years or 15 years. I want to expand this universe. I want to tell all the little stories because the manga and the anime has the history to do it. Do you get what I'm saying?
And that's very interesting because, you know, what you see on the screen is what you see, but there's so much thought that goes into it. I mean, Togusa is a family man. He has a wife and his kids, and I've had this conversation with Pilou before, just before we shot a scene where, you know, if my daughter was having a birthday party, what kind of dog would I get? Because Bateau loves his basset hounds, right? So we would then improvise and we'll riff off of that and go into like drama school improvisation stuff and just go on about that, and which tells us how much more there is to plumb, you know, in terms of the characters, because they come with such rich backgrounds and histories.
Absolutely. Next question, back there.
Hey, Shin, I want to ask, I know you've been in like a bunch of blockbuster films like Dark Knight, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Independence Day. How easy or difficult was it for you to get into Hollywood, like as an Asian actor or someone from Asian background?
I think anytime, you know, I think we're only limited by our vision of what our life should be, you know. And I think that when I first came to Hollywood and Los Angeles, yes, I had the good fortune to work with geniuses like Chris Nolan, and I owe so much to him in terms of my career. But at the same time, you know, I came with an idea to create characters that are authentic and real, you know, free of, you know, unencumbered by where he's from and who he is or his nationality, you know, or gender, you know. So I think I came with that attitude, and then, you know, luck would have it, you know, I got to work with the right people and some wonderful directors like Gus Van Sant and Steven Soderbergh. So that was my journey. But I would say take heart and just, you know, go for the scripts that mean something to you, that resonate with you. They could be anything. They could be a small movie, they could be a big movie, they could be a romantic comedy, they could be a...
They cannot be romantic comedies. Sorry. We're gonna do a romantic comedy.
Together, we're gonna do a romantic
romance.
comedy.
I see it. Yeah. I see it. Okay, one last question back there.
Hello. What scene in the film do you think anime fans will look forward to, who are fans of Ghost in the Shell?
That's a great question, because the first thing that came into my mind was the scenes that you remember from the anime. But you have already seen those scenes, you know? So our job is not only to give what you want, but also to give you what you didn't expect. And in my humble opinion, those are the best experience I've had in my life when I'm watching films. So Rupert Sanders is balancing it the most beautiful way. He's going to give you what you think you're going to have, but he's also going to give you some more. It's like a buffet.
Yeah, I would say that opening sequence, you know, just from the beginning is incredible and does a lot of justice.
So I think, as Pilou mentioned in one of our interviews a few days ago, the first 15 minutes are amazing. I think the last 15 minutes are stunning, and everything in between.
I like that.
It's a good joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I like
it's a
that.
good joke.
And you guys, you have to see it
not.
IMAX. You have to see it 3D, and it's in theaters tomorrow. So get in there. Thanks so much for being here, guys.
Thank you for
Appreciate it.
having
Ghost in the
us.
Shell.